Hi. You want to know just how worthless African lives are? 60,000 people killed in the span of 3 weeks in one city. That's El Fashir. 60,000 people are gone off the face of this earth in 3 weeks. 10,000 more are missing. We literally don't know where they are. 10,000 people. Again, from one city, El Fashir. And then there are thousands who are being held hostage in and around El Fashir. And their families are being demanded literally thousands of dollars, US dollars, in ransom. Relatives who managed to escape, their relatives who were besieged along with those people for 2 years, who had been starved, who had no income, no work, no nothing, who were bombed incessantly, and are now living in the middle of nowhere, living in the desert, trying to survive in the desert with, again, nothing, are being demanded to pay thousands of dollars. And there are no alarm bells. There are no alarm bells ringing. Nobody's fazed by this information. 60,000 people are no longer with us. 60,000. Do you understand what that means? And nobody's bothered. We're all just talking about it like it's just another figure. And the worst part, possibly, because it's all just so bad that you can't even pinpoint what's worse at this point. But one of the really, really bad parts is that this could have been avoided. For 2 years, activists from Darfur, activists from El Fashir, activists from Sudan at large, international human rights organizations were all warning of this very happening. And literally nobody gave a damn. Not a single person. No one. And even today, we're the only ones talking about it. This should be everywhere. I don't see it nowhere. Why? Because African lives are worthless to you.
The women and the girls would gather the bodies and put them in basically a mausoleum they created out of a schoolhouse. And so we could navigate and follow the RSF killing from space using the body piles as navigation points. They were killing so many. And so we got very good measurement that the average dead Masalite boy was 1.3 meters and dead Masalite man was 2 meters in 30 centimeter very high resolution satellite imagery. The village of Serba goes up. We watch that from space as they attack like hyenas. They come in on one side to lead the people in one direction, then they attack from the other direction very closely. And so what I'm saying is we assessed at that point for the U.S. government that the RSF was using the fighting in the capital to finish the Darfur genocide, beginning with the Masalite. So we sent a message to the U.S. government that, up to the National Security Council, National Intelligence Council, that El Fashir was going to be under attack probably at earliest November 23 into the beginning of 24. And we briefed the UN Security Council in private session in July 2023. So we were 2.5 years from the massacre in El Fashir that would happen on October 26 until now. And the reason why El Fashir was so important, to go back to the first genocide, is that the Zagawa in the Four, really because of, in a way, success of UN peacekeeping, had run to El Fashir as the safe haven. So on one hand, they go into the safe haven and they become sitting ducks. We sat the siege watching from space for 18 months. The siege lasted 18 months. I want to put this in perspective. El Fashir was under siege for 3.5 times Stalingrad, and 3/4 the siege of Leningrad during World War II. Gaza was under IPC-5 for I think a month to 2 months, correct me if I'm wrong. We were under IPC-5 in El Fashir, integrated phase classification level 5, highest level of famine, for 15 months. And now that the massacre has happened and the city has fallen to the RSF, the aid workers that we talked to, that those who have arrived in Tawila, which Nick mentioned, which is the last safe haven out of El Fashir, those very few that have arrived have one of the highest rates of malnutrition we have ever recorded. And who arrived out of the massacre? It was women and unaccompanied minor children. Why? Because they were killing the men and boys at a berm. They built a wall around El Fashir. It was 9 feet high, and they had bulldozers working around the clock and backhoes, 37 kilometers long. They created a kill box, and they walled in the remaining 4 in the Zagawa in the city, and basically the last major battle to date of the Darfur genocide. And when it fell, we could see the street filled overnight with 1.3 meter to 2 meter objects. And they were in C shape, J shape, or L shape. That's because when you shoot someone and you look at them from space when they get shot, they'll fall in the fetal position or on their knees. And so we saw trucks with 50 cal machine guns, and we would see 0.5 meter red discoloration on the ground, and that was blood. We had a ground network. We think they're all dead now. Our ground guys call us on Monday after the fall, and in the morning they say 1,200 of our family members and friends are dead. By that evening, they say 10,000. By Tuesday, we never got them on the phone again.
Our value to you lies in our land and our resources, and never in our humanity.